I wanted to start off by just asking, what has been the most impressive start of Nikola Jokic's start to the season, and what are you still looking for to help put you guys over the top in terms of just Nikola Jokic individually?
When I think of Nikola's start after 13 games, and I know it's really early, TJ, but obviously he has to be in the MVP conversation at this point of the season, averaging a triple-double. And to me, the most impressive thing about his start is when you consider the 83 days in the bubble, the shortest offseason in pro sports history, and he comes back even better. And that just speaks to the mental toughness, the physical toughness, the focus, the discipline. And for him to be playing at the level at is really incredible when you take into account everything that's gone on into this season. I give our guys a lot of credit. Every day the NBA is coming out with new protocols. We all have to get tested twice a day. Players on game days, I think, is 3 times a day. They don't want you leaving your house. On the road, they don't want you leaving your hotel. These are really tough times, and I give our players credit because they're handling it as well as can be expected. What else can Nikola do for us that he's not doing already? More of the same. I always implore him to be more vocal. And while we're 6 and 7, still trying to find our way, for him to remain in a very positive mindset, because his positive energy and voice are really contagious because everybody's looking at him as the example. So I love coaching him. He's tremendous on the floor and off the floor. And hopefully we can find a way to get everybody else going, to the best of their abilities so he can start going on a run here.
Next, we'll go to Mike Singer.
Hey, Michael. I know you're in season and have, obviously a ton going on. Going into the bubble, you said that you wanted to keep the initiative of working in Denver, working with the mayor, working with the police station, and kind of fostering those difficult conversations is, I think, the way you described it. Given that today is Martin Luther King Day, what is the status of those? Do you have an update? And do you feel like there's an avenue for you guys to forge those conversations here in Denver?
Well, to your last point, there's no doubt an opportunity for us as an organization, us as individuals, collectively, to have those conversations and help bring about change. I would say, unfortunately, Mike, because of COVID, because of the protocols, a lot of those conversations have been, I wouldn't say put on hold, but just it's really tough to have meaningful conversations when it's over the phone, via a Zoom, via a text message. So I think once we get through this COVID, I think you'll see a real uptick, not just here in Denver, but across the league in that regard, keeping the conversation going, keeping the educational platforms going, and obviously the meetings with the mayor, the police chief, and local organizations throughout all respective NBA cities. So I do feel bad because I think it's been pushed to the side a little bit because of what we're dealing with. I mean, and just the incredible, insane amount of people that are still being killed by COVID on a daily basis and that are impacting the lives of those throughout our country. So I look forward to kind of getting back and making that a huge point of emphasis for not only myself, but the entire group here in Denver.
Next, we'll go to Katie Wingy.
Hey, Coach, going back to last night, now that you've had a chance to watch the film, can you give me one good and one bad of what stood out to you on the Nuggets' performance?
Yeah, I mean, I kissed the Blarney Stone, so I have the gift of the gab. So asking for one good, one bad, that's really put me on the spot. I thought we played really hard, and I know that sounds cliche, but I thought our guys, from beginning to end, competed, and it wasn't always perfect. I thought our second and third quarter defense was great. Fourth quarter defense wasn't where it needed to be. We have rebounded them by 16. Usually for us, you hear me say it all the time, Katie, when we rebound and when we win the rebound battle, we usually win the game. So to out-rebound your opponent by 16 and to have 22 or 23 offensive rebounds, but only convert them into 14 points was unfortunate, but the effort on the glass was tremendous. If I could change one thing, if we could do something a little bit better, obviously the transition points. The first quarter, they really got going from the 3-point line in transition. But throughout the game, I thought transition opportunities was one of the glaring areas that we struggled in. So we had some great half-court possessions, great fly-around possessions. I think we had 16 deflections last night. We recovered 10 50-50 loose balls. So the effort was there, but we just couldn't finish. I mentioned that after the game last night. We worked on it today. Shots around the rim, working for the offensive rebounds, unable to finish the putback. So that's just something where we have to be better. Because if we finished just a little bit better last night, in my opinion, we win that game.
Next, we'll go to Harrison Wind.
Hey, Michael, Jamal had that big first half last night. He also said after the game that his elbow's been bothering him. I think he said it's like hurting him, or he's noticing it on every shot that he takes. Do you think about giving him any time off here, just for him to get right, or just with where you guys are at standings wise and with the schedule, he's just got to kind of power through?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, Harrison. And it is something where he is battling with the elbow, and it seems like every game that he plays, he gets hit there and re-aggravates it. Obviously, in the first half, it wasn't an issue. And I talked with him this morning, because he played 42 minutes, and I talked about how fatigue probably played a factor in his second half numbers and efficiency. And he wasn't buying that. He goes, Coach, I felt good. I got great looks. I got to make those shots. I'd love to give him some time off. I'd love to give Nikola some time off. But the reality is right now, being 6-7, knowing we have one more home game against OKC before going on, I believe, our longest road trip of the first half schedule, 5 games, 9 days. It's really hard to do that. Now, if it gets to a point, back the second night of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, whether it's Jamal, Nikola, Paul, whoever, we may have to look at that, because I am worried about the well-being of our team. I'm worried about not just the physical demands being placed on them, but I'm really more worried about the emotional and mental demands being placed on them. These are hard times, and the bubble was hard in a different light, but a lot is being asked of these guys, man. And to come back at nighttime, when you're home with your family, relaxing, and say, oh, I got to go back down to the Pepsi Center and test again. On a game day, the players will be tested 3 times. There's just so much right now, but we'll read it. If Jamal needs some time off, we'll give it to him. But all I know is that we're a hell of a lot better when Jamal and Nikola are out there playing at a high level. But if we need to do so, we will.
We'll go to Chris Dempsey next.
Hey, Coach, PJ Dozier was pretty optimistic about the general direction the team is headed in, obviously, despite 6-7 record. And I'm wondering, do you see it the same way? I mean, is the arrow pointed in a general good direction for you as well?
I think so. Obviously, if you base it just on the record, 6-7, of course, that's not what we aspire to be. One game under 500. But I look at the Dallas game, quality opponent, had chances to win that game, easily should have won that game. Last night against Utah, who I think is a really good team, really talented. They've got great depth and they've got shooting everywhere. We had chances in that game, even late. So, obviously, I think it's really important for me as a head coach and as one of our leaders, I have to remain positive and optimistic. And, even in our film session today, if the film sessions aren't all negative, we have to reinforce the positive things that we're doing as well. But yeah, I mean, guys are competing, guys are playing hard. We're still trying to get that second unit kind of situated. And again, that second unit is made up of a lot of new players. But, it's on me. It starts with me as a head coach. It's on our players. We have to find a way to string some wins together and be a more consistent team that can close out games. And we've had a hard time doing that this year. And the reality is that hasn't been the case the last 2-3 years. We've been a really good closing team. And right now that hasn't been the case. So we all have to help in figuring that out and being better in that regard.
We'll take one more question and end with Pat Graham.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Hey,
Good.
I know one person can't cure everything, but how important is it just to get Michael Porter Jr. back and just kind of settle in the rotation and just get settled in again?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to be whole as a team, Pat. You know what I mean? So obviously, Michael hasn't been with us since December 30th, I believe. His last game was in Sacramento. So he's missed the first 9 games of this month. And bottom line is he's a starting small forward that's 6'10", averaging close to 20 points a game and 7 rebounds. So of course we'd love to have that. Not only are you whole, but you have a very talented player who is a big part of your current team and also your future as an organization. That also allows you to kind of get your rotations and your group set off the bench as well as your starting group and help guys get used to playing together. So that will be an adjustment getting him back because he won't be here tomorrow. So that'll be his 10th game that he's missed, I believe. And hopefully, the hope is, I'm not sure if this is definitive, but the hope is that we can get him back in Phoenix for the start of that 5-game, 9-day road trip. So, of course, we miss Michael. He's a big part of what we're trying to do here. And when we do get him back, obviously, it'll be a welcome sight.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.